Hi, welcome to Hell, Art Hell. The first circle of Art Hell is the Agnostics. The Agnostics don't really care about making art, and we don't care much about the Agnostics. That's not a big deal. If you don't want to make art, if you're not someone who's interested in making art, that's fine. If you ever find yourself getting resentful towards these people, the Agnostics, the people who aren't in the game, just know that you're the person with something wrong with them. Like, maybe they want to pass on their pattern of behavior with less esoteric means than art. Maybe they want to have like a human child and do other non-dysgenic behavior, unlike you, who has the brainworm, the mental disease of making art. So yeah, agnostics are fine. Maybe they got a desk job. Maybe they just don't really think about it. Maybe they're into like sports or something. Who cares? It's not anything that should bother you. However, there are some agnostics that we'll get to later that we do have a problem with, but most of them are fine. Yappers. This is the second circle. The second circle is lust. Yappers, in this circle, you'll find a lot of people walking around and talking a lot about their ideas, about their project, this vague project that you never get any details about, but they'll talk a lot about what it's going to do. It's going to change the world. Or maybe they'll give you details. You know, you'll check in a week and they'll give you more details. A month, they'll give you more details. They keep adding more details to this project, this very still kind of vague project. And you're like, okay, when's this going to, what are you going to do with this? Are you going to make something with this? And a year later, they haven't done anything with it. And if you run into these people, just know, their project is talking to you about the project. They're lusting after the project, much like in classic Dante's Inferno, where the lovers, the spirits of that circle would be blown around by the winds of lust. It's like they're opening their mouth and yapping, and a lot of wind comes out, and they don't actually want to make the project. They're lusting after the project. They're like, oh, the project's going to be so good. It's going to change the world. Oh, it's not going to happen. They want to just talk to you about the project indefinitely. Many such cases. Gluttony. Gluttony is the third circle of hell, and this is when you consume an endless stream of content, convincing yourself you're doing market research or something. Like you install TikTok, and you're like, I'm going to be a TikToker, and then it's like, bleh, for 12 hours. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to write a book. I have to read 100 books first, though. And then you read 100 books, and it's like, 100 more. You are just literally consuming. Oh, nom, 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 more content. Oh, nom, 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 nom. Which is fine. You know, it's okay to consciously consume some content. But gluttony circle is like, you've gone overboard on the content consumption. And if you want to be an artist, you should probably like be making art at some point, you know, instead of just consuming art. You should probably like make art slightly more than you consume art. Even I would be so bold to say, because the more art you consume, the more your art's going to look like the art that you consume, right? So it's probably best to try to make some unique art, consume what you need to consume, and then just do the thing. You can definitely overconsume. Fourth layer is greed. Greed is when you get a little lost in the sauce. You know, you like, I got to post at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. 3 times a week because I was told that by some course that I bought, but from some guy that made that up. You know, I've got to post this on all these subreddits that don't actually like my work, that aren't going to get any value from my work. I'm going to DM a bunch of e-celebrities, and maybe one of them will shout me out. And it's like, not only is that not going to work, so you're not even going to get the money that you're trying to optimize for, but also, even if it did work, you will just codify this pattern of behavior of like optimizing for money and being annoying, such that when you do blow up, if people start, you know, seeing you and you start becoming a successful artist, you're going to be producing nothing of value, and you're probably going to crypto scam your audience. I mean, I'm like these people will just grow up to be the crypto scammers. Like, they don't have any actual values. They're not making anything valuable. They don't care about their audience. They literally just want to suck your vril and leave, because that's the sort of pattern of behavior you're building up when you just focus on marketing. Now. The vast majority of artists don't have this problem. Most artists are like just bad marketers and could actually stand to get a little bit more into that world. But when you get too far into that world, you become the most annoying motherfucker on the planet. So yeah, I get it. Most artists are like, I'm not good enough to share my art. And that's actually a good instinct. It's like that's a good human instinct. It means like you're a person that like is respecting other people. And when you lose that and you get super annoying on the other end, but I don't want you to get too spooked by that extreme to like not get into marketing at all. You should get into it a little bit. Fifth circle, anger. Anger is when you are seething. In this circle, you'll see a lot of people malding, seething over other artists. They'll, you go on your phone and you see someone more successful than you. Kind of breaks you out of your gluttony, infinite scroll, and then you're like, I hate this person. Why? And you think, well, it's because they're appealing to humanity's worst instincts with their art. Or here's a favorite of mine. They're not actually doing anything with their art. They're just making pretty pictures. They're drawing little pretty pictures that don't say anything. Or they're taking a beautiful picture of a tree and doesn't say anything. Meanwhile, I'm making real art, so I deserve to be more successful than them. And it's like, actually, you just lost. You just lost. You're just lower on the hierarchy than them, and that's why you're mad. I mean, there's no other real reason why you're mad. It's literally just that. And you've made up a lot of moral arguments to justify why you lost. So yeah, a lot of people seething. You might think, this guy sucks, I could do better, and then not do better. You know, not just like do better than the guy. Like if you could do better, just do better than the guy. But you don't want to actually do better. You just want to be like, I could do better if I tried, but I'm not going to try. Okay. 6th layer, hearsay. This is not questioning your own dogma. This is thinking that you need to just keep doubling down. On this layer, you will see a lot of people stuck in the mud, writhing, twisting, turning around, struggling, but actually only digging themselves deeper because they're not looking up. They're not trying to connect what they're doing to another piece of media. They're not trying to work with other people. They're not associating with other different artists and thinkers and kinds of people out of some sort of weird purity of their own dogma. This is someone who, when they're 14, you come up with your own idea and you just keep building up that idea. Maybe you build a world, a lore around this world, and you're like, if I just add this island to this fictional continent, then people will finally see my work. Wrong. You need to actually work with someone. If you work with someone else, if you work with a new person, maybe you're working with the same people over and over again. Maybe you work with a new person, or you're just working completely by yourself over and over again. Work with a new person, they can give you a hand, bring you out of the muck. So you stop doubling down. This is also people who find one thing that works once, and then they just keep doubling down years later. You see this with every fucking YouTuber. They keep doubling down. Me included. I'm also guilty of this. They keep doubling down on shit that just doesn't work because it worked once. And it's like, try something else. Do something else. So, violence, that's layer 7. This is when resistance becomes medical. In this layer, you will see people self-harming, harming others, drug use, threatening suicide, blaming other people, creating drama. It's so much easier to destroy than it is to create. Resistance can actually manifest as a medical issue. If you're someone that needs to make art and you're not making art, it can manifest as you dying in some way. It's like killing you. It's like rotting your body and your mind and your soul and your heart. So yeah, here's you blaming your parents. It's like, it's your fault. Parents? Or, maybe you're blaming your loving, supportive girlfriend. You're like, you don't support me enough. It's your fault. Even though you had the time to make the art and you just weren't making the art, but you're like, I need to blame someone. I need to blame someone and I need to cause some drama or some controversy or some interpersonal strain because that's easier than actually making the art. You're convincing yourself that if you destroy the social relationship, then that'll somehow inspire you to make art or something. It's actually just self-harm. You're like, you're self-harming yourself, and you're like, it's performance art. And you're like, no, it's just, this is self-harm. Many such cases. I'm one of these cases. I've been in every one of these circles, by the way, multiple times over my life. So, yep. Fraud. Fraud is when I say, you can buy my course for $500 US. By course, I mean, I don't sell a course. I would never sell a course. But it's it's calls with me. Testimonials. Testimonials will appear now. Yes, good testimonials. Look at these testimonials. These are great testimonials. Oh, by the way, there's a passage for the violence text I'm going to put on screen now. Bam. Because I'm not just wildly positing that resistance can manifest as medical issues. This is well known. This is canon because another guy posited it wildly, and I find these pages very good, very interesting. Very relatable. It's like I'm literally causing drama because I don't want to just make something, and then you make the thing and you're like, wow, I don't want to cause drama anymore. It's like you got something evil out of your system by creating. Anyway, 9th circle of hell. This is the most important one. Treachery. This is lying to yourself. Treachery to yourself. This is false narratives about your art, saying, I'll do it soon, I'm the best. A 3-headed beast lives in the final circle of hell, the closest circle of hell. This is Satan. This is in the middle because every other layer, every other circle of hell relies heavily on treachery to exist. You cannot have any other circle without treachery. So Violence. What are you lying to yourself about with violence? You're lying that someone else is to blame and that you can destroy them, or that destroying something is a suitable alternative to making art, or that destroying yourself is a suitable alternative to making art. Like, it's easier to die. It's easier to kill yourself than it is to make art. You think like something's deeply wrong with you and you need to take drugs to make the art, right? Yeah, I need to be on drugs to do art. I need to be really, really high to make my art. And it's literally just self-harm. It's like easier to harm yourself than it is to make art. So you've lied to yourself about that. Heresy, you're lying to yourself about your frame being adequate, working for you. You're ignoring external circumstances because you just keep doubling down on something that's not working. You're lying to yourself that the way that you have things figured out, you've got some formula that'll work if you just keep at it, and it's not working and it's never going to work. But you lying to yourself. The treachery, the self-treachery is that if you keep doing it, you will like escape at some point, but you're actually just digging yourself deeper. Anger, your self-treachery is that this guy was born with rich parents, and because he was born with rich parents, he's better than me. But I'm more worthy than him. But it's yada. You know, you're just lower in the hierarchy. That's it. That's all. You can make up moral arguments. That's fine. It's fine to have moral arguments. You can have values. Values are important. But it's also like, maybe you just lost. Maybe you just lost. Greed. You're lying to yourself that you'll make enough money to like make your real art or whatever, and you're also just not going to make the money, and you're never going to make the real art because you're optimizing for the wrong thing. Gluttony. You're lying to yourself that consuming the content will get you out of whatever hole you're in, and they'll be able to make money and art based off of consuming content. We're actually just consuming content, possibly to escape your bad life. I would know. Lust, you're convincing yourself that talking about your project is the same thing as having a project. It is not. And then finally, the agnostics. I left these for last. This is a horseshoe theory a little bit here. How the treachery actually is connected to the agnostics. I didn't know how to represent that on this chart, but you can see. By the way, this chart's available on Patreon. Wait, hold on. I forgot fraud. This chart, the Procreate file for this chart is available on Patreon right now. You can get it for $5. Another plug. I'm amazing at this. But yeah, the agnostics, they loop back to treachery. So treachery and agnostics, those are like right next to each other. Because most of these agnostics are fine. They're fine, don't get me wrong. But some of the agnostics, some of the people who claim not to be artists or care about art or think about art or like art are burned out artists. They're people who went through every single one of these layers and died. And they think they're here, but they're actually in the deepest pits of hell in treachery because they want to make art. They actually want to make art, but they are so blocked and they tried to kill whatever artists they had inside of them for so long that when someone around them starts making art, they get unreasonably pissed. These are the kinds of people who are going to have kids who grow up to be artists and then be mad at their kids for reasons they can't articulate. It's like, you're making art and I think that's bad. You're going to go broke. You're going to go homeless. And it's like, okay, what if I get a normal job and I just dedicate like an hour a day to making art and I'll have time for that? It's like, no, that's bad too. I can't articulate why, even though it doesn't make any logical sense why that's not okay, especially if it makes you happy. But it's bad. You know, these are people who will suck the fucking soul out of your body if you allow them to. So hopefully you avoid those sorts of agnostics and you don't hang around them. I mean, you can, I guess, but it's like if they're sucking your soul, hopefully, if there's a conclusion here, this is it. Hopefully you hang around people that check you on these patterns of behavior and don't suck the soul out of your body. And hopefully you hang around people that inspire you and bring you to art heaven or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll make a different chart for that. And are spiritually and creatively fulfilling for you to be around. And that's community. And community really does kind of break you out of a lot of these patterns of behavior because you're like scrolling and you find someone you don't like and you start yelling at them. And then Gokunaru comes over and is like, maybe you just lost. And you're like, maybe I just lost. So yeah,